Hi, everybody, and welcome to San Francisco. A beautiful afternoon here by the Bay as the Marlins and Giants wrap up a series at beautiful AT Park. And boy, oh boy, has there been an awful lot to dissect as these two teams wrap up their season series. Inside the broadcast booth, Paul Severino and Todd Hollinsworth. Well, a lot of back and forth in that 4.5 game series in Miami with the 16-inning affair in the finale. And tempers flaring, I guess you could say, here in San Francisco.
Well, I think things like this typically happen when you play a team an awful lot. You worry about it in a 4-game series, then you follow it up a couple games later. You're playing them again in San Francisco. So, yeah, this is game number 7 in just over a week. So, yeah, these two teams are pretty tired of each other right now. But you're right, fireworks, it's been fun. And guess what? The Marlins have been winning some baseball games against these Giants.
And again, in case the games have been late, so if you've missed it or haven't had a chance to check it out online, let's kind of give you a little bit of a background as to what's been going on. So this was on Monday night. Hunter Strickland goes up and into Lewis Brinson, who later in the at-bat gets the base hit to right field. That ties the game. Strickland's not happy. He gives him a look over at first, and then when Brinson gets to third and Strickland's out, they exchange words. Well, Strickland has now been placed on the disabled list with a broken hand. Brinson says, "Get out of here, we're done." And in Brinson's first at-bat last night, well, Derek Rodriguez goes right to the hip, and then benches get worn. Don Mattingly not happy. And then Dan Straley ends up getting into it too, but you think it's done?
I do. I really do. I think that cooler heads are going to prevail today. It's been a dicey series all along. We kind of felt this coming. There's a million ingredients to how what happened yesterday happened, and it really comes back to the fact that the Marlins have played great baseball against the Giants. I know why the Giants are testy. You get testy when a team comes back on you 9 times in 7 games or 6 games. Those things will absolutely happen. I felt like a climax last night, and here you are today with a game. Listen, there were some inside fastballs yesterday. I don't think anything escalated. There were no nasty glares. Personally, I think this is over and done with. We probably won't even talk about it today.
Oh, we'll talk about it, pal. Don't you worry about it. But we may talk about it with Jose Urena on the mound. Not because he'll be throwing it at anybody, but because he's got 8 hit-by pitches this year. But he is coming off his best start of the season, 8 scoreless against the Orioles.
He really is. You look at his numbers, they're outstanding on the season, right? The ERA's making its way down. Fantastic start. Got 14 ground ball outs in that game against the Baltimore Orioles. Was really dominating the lower part of the strike zone. I expect him to be very much the same today. And he's in a great spot right now. 3 of his last 4 starts have been quality. So again, the ace of this staff given the ball in a game where you have a chance to win a series.
And he would have perhaps gone even further, maybe try to finish what he started if the Marlins had a larger lead last time out. When we come back, Jessica Blaylock on the field live with the shortstop, J.T. Riddle, after the break. Downstairs, Jessica Blaylock is with JT Riddle.
Thanks so much, Paul. JT, in these games against the Giants, we've seen a little bit of everything, including some emotion. How would you characterize these series from this past week?
It's been a fun series. We had them at home, had a really good series at home, all 4 games, and then we come here and same situation. We came back in a big game on the other night, the first night here, and got a big win. And you know, it's baseball. When you come down from a 2-3 run deficit late in the game, and there's going to be emotion involved.
You're going against a left-hander today in Derek Holland. What's key to taking advantage of a lefty-lefty matchup?
Just staying on the ball, staying on it, and don't try to do too much. Stay with my approach and do that, and just trust the process.
You've been back in the big leagues for about a month now. Offensively, do you feel like you've had enough time to settle back in at the plate?
I think so. I've been working on a few things ever since I came back up, and I feel like I'm settling in, getting more comfortable. Worked with Frank and Pags in the cage, working on being more balanced, trusting my approach, staying with it, and so far it's worked out, and I'm getting comfortable, and it's coming along.
Appreciate the time. Good luck today. Paul, back to you.
Jessica, JT, thanks so much. Back to the studio with Craig Minervini and Jeff Nelson when we come back. Marlins baseball on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By WB Mason. Who but WB Mason, the official office supply company of the Miami Marlins. Chevrolet, see your South Florida dealer today. And by your local Toyota dealers, let's go places. So many terrific views here in San Francisco. Always a fun place to visit. Lots of cool landmarks. And, oh yeah, a fun series that we have had so far. The Marlins and the Giants wrapping things up this afternoon. Glad you're with us as Starlin Castro leads things off in our Marlins batting order, presented to you by Southwest. Brian Anderson behind him. JT Realmuto gets a start behind the plate today as well, even though it's a day game after a night game. An off day in Colorado tomorrow. And we are ready for baseball as Derek Holland delivers the first pitch, which is fouled off. And a closer look at Derek Holland making his 15th start in a Giants uniform.
Yeah, 4.48 ERA on the season, 2.57 ERA over his last 3 starts. They haven't gone very long, though. He's only gone 5 innings in his last 4 or less. His last start was against the Dodgers. A couple earned runs, 5 innings. It was in LA, 7 strikeouts, 105 pitches. Only 3 quality starts on the season, so Holland has not typically gone very long in games. Maybe 1 time, 2 times through that lineup. You start to wonder where he may come out of the game.
Well, Holland was the only starting pitcher that did not go in that 4-game series in Miami. And the same can be said for Jose Urena, who will be on the mound in the bottom of the first inning. A 1-2 to Castro. Is in there for a called strike 3. Must have gotten the edge, says home plate umpire Jansen Visconti.
You see the slider there. He's got a 5-pitch arsenal. All right, here you go. Give you the Auto Nation scouting report for this afternoon's ball game of Derek Holland. Home woes, 5 starts, AT&T Park, 5.55 ERA, only 1 quality start. There's clearly a righty advantage today. You'll see it in kind of how the lineup is structured for Don Mattingly and the Marlins. Righty's hitting 266, 11 home runs against Holland. The lefties 137. He's actually got one of the better slugging percentages against those lefties. It actually leads the National League. So lefties have not been able to do much against him. Daydreaming, 4-day starts, 2.01 ERA. That's the one thing that really stands out. Holland has pitched well during the day.
The 0-1 to Brian Anderson is in there for ball 1, or inside rather for ball 1. Anderson on a 17-game on-base streak. A couple of home runs and 10 RBIs in that span. And there is strike 2. 1 for 5 last night, doubling an RBI on the road trip. 3 for 19, but he's still been able to work the walks. Of course, a key walk on Monday night that started that 3-run rally in the 9th inning. It all played into the emotion of this series, which we'll keep an eye on. That's obviously been a storyline, a talking point throughout. Don Mattingly tried his best to move past it, was certainly asked about the questions, even though kind of tried to put it to bed last night. All the surrounding Lewis Brinson and Hunter Strickland and Buster Posey and Dan Straley and Derek Rodriguez. 2 strikeouts in this first inning for Derek Holland.
Now let's give you the defense for the Giants. It's a day game after a night game, so a little bit different for the Giants defensively. Pence gets the start in left, Hernandez in center, Williamson over in right, Sandoval, Hansen in at shortstop, Panic, Belt, Hundley behind the plate, Holland on the mound. Hundley has been very productive offensively catching for the Giants today, although he has not done so much with the pitching staff and the Giants. He's got a bloated ERA when he's in there, up at 4.5.
Realmuto swings and misses. 1 for 4 with a double in last night's ball game. 6 for 22. 2 home runs and 5 RBIs on the road trip, which continues in Colorado on Friday. Rockies will play 2 games in between then and now. Marlins obviously playing this afternoon, and then the Rockies playing the Mets later on tonight, just in a few hours, and then an afternoon game tomorrow. Popped up, and that will reach the seats. The ball and 2 strikes.
Yeah, you're already seeing it from Holland. That 5-pitch mix I mentioned. 4-seam fastball, does have a sinker, changeup, slider, curve. He uses the entire arsenal. He's going to hang around 91, 92 miles an hour throughout the day. Slower on that curveball, but really, to be his best, he's got to keep the ball down. Again, he doesn't possess that higher velocity that he had a little bit earlier in his career.
And an inning with 3 strikeouts. 1 looking and 2 swinging. We'll see Urania when we come back. And Giants are back at it this afternoon. Paul Severino, Todd Hollandsworth, and Jessica Blaylock. Glad that you're with us as we get a look at the Giants starting lineup presented to you by Southwest. Alan Hansen in there at a big night last night. A couple of doubles. He'll lead things off. Brandon Belt, since coming off the disabled list a handful of games, has yet to really hit his stride, but certainly a power threat in this lineup. And speaking of power, Pablo Sandoval a home run in this series as Jose Urania will try to pitch the Marlins to a series victory. 16th start and coming off a gem, 8 scoreless against the Orioles.
Yeah. 2 wins in his last 3 starts. He's been in quite a role. You mentioned the last start, 14 groundouts in those 8 clean innings against the Baltimore Orioles. 2-seam fastball, 4-seam fastball, changeup, slider. He's been outstanding at keeping the ball down, particularly of late. Keep your eye on the lefties, though. They're the one side of the plate that he has given up a few home runs to. 7 home runs to the lefties, only 2 to the righties.
A check over at third, and the third base umpire Andy Fletcher says that's a swing. Manny Gonzalez at second, the crew chief Laz Diaz at first, and again Jansen Visconti is behind the plate. So in talking to a lot of folks, and Holly, you're certainly one of them, you get the sense that all of the beanball, if you will, is behind everybody.
Right.
And it's all kind of been put to bed. But here's what I will point out, and I would tend to agree with you, but here's what I would point out. Jose Urania has hit 8 batters this season, tied for the 5th most in all of baseball, 2nd most behind Carlos Martinez in the National League, as that one is just foul. So he might hit somebody today. Who knows? Hopefully not. But if he does, that all gets back to how he pitches. He attacks inside. He's aggressive inside. And sometimes the ball will tail up and in. Ask Josh Harrison of the Pirates, who, much like Evan Longoria, suffered a broken hand. Hansen fouls that one off his foot. And he is in a great deal of pain, rolling around.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. He certainly is not bouncing up. It looks like he just grabbed his left, maybe his back knee. That would be his left knee. See Giants trainer Dave Greshner on the scene. Let's take another look. It's the slider.
May have glanced off his knee before he got the foot. Yeah.
Oh, the inside of the right knee. Excuse me. It was funny. It looked like when he was on the ground, he kind of touched his left knee. All right, there you go. Yeah, the inside of that lead leg. Sometimes when you foul off a baseball, you just really redirect the velocity. It's not the, the idea that once you make contact that, that ball always slows down. If it's a glancing blow off the bat, really all you're doing is taking 89 miles an hour and just kind of redirecting it. And I think in this case, that's exactly what happened. Oh, you know what? I think it got both. I think it's his back leg and his front leg at the same time.
Right. The outside of that knee,
right,
and then the inside of the ankle or foot of his right foot, and he's going to be helped off the field. Now he's starting at shortstop today. The Giants are without Brandon Crawford. He's on the paternity list. They expect him back tomorrow. He and his wife welcomed their fourth child a couple of days ago. So Hansen, again, who had the 2 doubles last night, being helped off the field. Of course, if we get any word on his condition, we'll pass that along. But Kelby Tomlinson is going to come in and inherit the rest of this at bat. So there you go, right there on the knee and there off the ankle or the heel.
Sure enough. Now, to the conversation we were having, I think that's a pretty clear example of exactly what Ureña's intentions are today. He's got to pitch to both sides of the plate. He's got to maintain his aggressiveness. He's not going to just hang out over the middle of the plate.
Soft liner up the middle. Castro gets to it, and Tomlinson is retired.
All right, let's give you the Marlins defensively for this afternoon. Maben in left. Brinson gets the start in center. Anderson in right. Rojas, Riddle, Starlin Castro at second. Justin Bohr over at first base. JT back behind the plate. There is a day off tomorrow, so he's able to do a night-day combination along with Ureña on the mound.
That one's low to Joe Panik. 0 for 3 yesterday. 2 walks. 1 for 7 in the series. This one out to left field. And that's Cameron Maben. A step or 2 in front of the track. 2 away. Brandon Belt digs in, the first baseman for the San Francisco Giants. 4th in the National League in on-base percentage at .395. He swings at the first pitch and a base hit into right center field. And the next thing I was going to tell you was that he is 2 for 15 in the 5 games since coming off the disabled list with that emergency appendectomy. But now 3 for 16 with the 2-out knock.
Well, at some point he's going to get going. Hopefully it's not this afternoon, and it's certainly well past the Marlins dealing with the Giants this year. .348. Excuse me, let me correct that. He's got an OPS over 1,100 here at AT Park. 25 games.
A strike to Pablo Sandoval, who is seeing increased playing time after the injury to Evan Longoria, the broken bone in his hand. So the Kung Fu Panda back over at the hot corner, where he made a name for himself in his first go around with the San Francisco Giants, part of their championship run in 10 and 12 and 14. Tap foul, a ball and 2 strikes.
Well, Sandoval has been swinging a hot bat. 10 RBIs last 13 games. Finds himself in the middle of the lineup. He's also done a lot of damage from the left side of the plate. Definitely his strong side. 5 homers, 22 RBIs versus righties this season.
The 112 pitches in the last time out, a career high for Urania. And game the Marlins won 2-0. And Don Mattingly said after the game that if we had a larger lead, he was still good to go. He was carrying that velocity at, I believe it was about 96 miles an hour in the first and the 8th. Belt on the move on 1-2, poked out into left field, a base hit, and Belt will get to third.
Well, Sandoval really has found himself once again in a Giants uniform, using all fields, going line to line. How about this right here? A little out on that front side, but enough to slap it down the left field line. Belt on the run. The Giants here with an opportunity in the bottom of the first.
Back-to-back hits for the Giants after a ground out and a line out. And here's Nick Hundley. Behind the plate today, Buster Posey gets the day off. And in there for a called strike.
Be careful. Hundley's been an offensive force here of late. 1 for 8 on the season against the Marlins, but he's driven in 8 runs in his last 7 games. He gets the start today because of his bat.
He had seen increased playing time in the couple of weeks that Belt was out, with Posey over at first against certain pitchers. Will pop up to shallow right center field. A step or two onto the outfield grass. Castro puts it away, and Urania strands 2 through 1 here in San Francisco.
Join us Friday, June 29th, when the Marlins take on the Mets for fireworks at the park. Catch all the action at 7:10, and then enjoy a post-game fireworks display with a 305 skyline as your backdrop. Purchase your tickets for fireworks presented by T-Mobile at marlins.com/tickets.
Look at that guy enjoying a day on the water. It's a lazy day for that guy. That's cool. Kelby Tomlinson takes over at shortstop as he finished up the at-bat after Alan Hansen fouled one off his leg and subsequently his foot. So it's Tomlinson at short. He started the game on Monday night at shortstop. And takes over defensively behind Derek Holland, who will see Maben, Bohr, and Brinson here in the second inning. Cameron Maben in the cleanup spot for just the third time this year. Started in the cleanup spot twice against the Giants in Miami.
Well, he's in there. He's done very well against the lefties. .290 with a .351 on base percentage. Some very good production. See the good numbers against Holland in his career.
You mentioned the home runs that Holland has given up this year. Last year, 31 home runs allowed. The highest homer per 9 rate of his career when he was with the Chicago White Sox, as Maben slashes one down the right field line. And with that speed, it's easily 2. Getting to it quickly is Mac Williamson, and it's a leadoff double for Cameron Maben here in the second.
Well, continues to do what he does best, and that's handling the lefties. Great swing right there with 2 strikes going the other way. Takes this elevated fastball. We saw Holland almost like he didn't see it. This reaction covered both hands over his head. Great swing as he shoots it into that right field corner. Marlins rolling here with a leadoff double in the second.
The 11th 2-base hit of the year for Cameron Maben, and that brings up Justin Bohr, who takes upstairs. Bohr was 1 for 3 with a walk last night. He's up to 49 walks in 2018. 2 more than his previous single season career high. And oh, by the way, it's June 20th.
That's going to be a good challenge for the lefties that are in the lineup today, and there's a couple of them for Bohr. We mentioned those numbers. 137 batting average against Derek Holland, and in fact has limited the slugging percentage even more so. Justin's done a nice job this season. .370 on base percentage, .439 slug. A little bit behind his lefty numbers from last year. He kind of really busted out and put up some really solid numbers against the lefties. This year a little bit slower, but has been taking his walks.
Hitters count on 2-0. 3 balls and no strikes. There's Brinson on deck. He's been in the center of it all. True, if you ask me, no fault of his own, but nobody asked me. 3-1. Holland's 3-1 pitch to Bohr is inside for ball 4.
I'll tell you what, that's a great take right there. I think it's his 50th walk of the season. Is that right?
That is.
49 now 50. You know, that's the one thing I was just thinking about, this lefty-lefty matchup, and you see Holland kind of working in. We mentioned the great numbers. Certainly you recognize the situation right there where Justin Bohr's thinking, all right, I got to get the ball to the right side at a minimum so that I can get Maben over to third base. But you know, Holland tried to get him to chase fastballs in off the plate. That was a fantastic at bat, especially in hitter's count. I can promise you, I would not have left those pitches alone. I would have gone after them, trying to do my job, and probably would have gotten jammed. Great job by Bohr leaving him alone.
There's Lewis Brinson, who walked to the plate with some boos here at AT Park, and as he swings and misses, some cheers as well. Again, I said it before, really through no fault of his own. He gets the sac fly against Strickland last week in the 9th inning of that 16-inning game, and then he gets one up at his neck on Monday night. Later in the at-bat, gets the game-tying base hit. He's excited. First 2 months haven't gone all that well in terms of the batting average. Starting to come around in June. He's been a much different player this month, contributing offensively in addition to what he's been doing defensively all year. Strickland takes umbrage to it, and now all of a sudden, with what's gone on the last 2 days, for some reason he becomes the villain. He becomes the bad guy here in San Francisco. The 0-2 pitch to third. Sandoval, one, double play. Pablo did a nice job adjusting to that big hop.
Well, he sure did. He was able to pull those hands in. That 82-mile-an-hour slider really forces those hands in. Hit pretty hard, but right at Sandoval.
So the 5-4-3 double play makes it a runner on third and 2 outs for Miguel Rojas. 1 for 3, a run scored last night, 4 for 8 through Baltimore and San Francisco. It was his RBI single down the right field line on Monday. It was the third run of that 9th inning rally, gave the Marlins a lead. They ultimately won that game to take the opener. Lost last night 6-3. So this series is even up at a game apiece in the rubber match this afternoon. Marlins took 3 of 4 from the Giants last week at Marlins Park. Rojas out to left field. That's in there for a base hit. And another RBI single for Miguel Rojas. The Marlins up 1-0.
Continues his hot hitting. He's had a very nice road trip. Been clutch with runners in scoring position. You saw the batting average on the season at 236, much higher, up above 275 with this base hit. It's a hanging breaking ball out over the plate. Didn't crush it, perfectly placed. Told you many times. Soft contact a lot of times is better than that hard contact. In that situation, 2 outs and runners in scoring position gets the job done.
JT Riddle takes ball 1.
His 5th hit and 4th RBI on this trip.
And do not adjust your sets, ladies and gentlemen. The Marlins have actually scored first against the Giants. They've been doing so many, playing the role of the comeback kids these last week or so against San Francisco. 9 times they have erased a deficit, but right now they are out to the 1-0 lead. A couple of hits for Riddle yesterday, including a triple that drove in 2. He's 5 for 15 on the road trip. And I'll see a 2-0 from Holland. Left field line and into the seats, foul, 2-1. Don't forget to stay tuned in the middle of the 7th inning for the Ram game break.
Nice game for JT yesterday. Very solid road trip so far. 5 hits, double, triple, couple RBIs. Swing really starting to come around. You've seen the power from JT, gap to gap, left center field to right center field. Does some of his best work.
Ground ball right side, panic ranging onto the outfield grass and gets Riddle for the 3rd out here in the 2nd inning. But a Rojas RBI has the Marlins up 1-0.
Willie McCovey. A home run ball that lands in McCovey Cove is referred to as a splash hit. As of today, there are a total of 78 splash hits. Now, no surprise here, Barry Bonds is responsible for 35 of those. But guys, an interesting fact, Pablo Sandoval and Brandon Belt have 8 splash hits apiece. McCovey Cove, named after former Giants first baseman Willie McCovey. A home run ball that lands in McCovey Cove is referred to as a splash hit. As of today, there are a total of 78 splash hits. Now, no surprise here, Barry Bonds is responsible for 35 of those. But guys, an interesting fact, Pablo Sandoval and Brandon Belt have 8 splash hits apiece.
Jessica, thank you so much. Yes, 78 Giants, or 78 times a Giant has gone into McCovey Cove. Never, though, Giant or otherwise, has a right-handed hitter ever gone out there. That would take a lot of the wind that we have seen these 3 days out here, and an awful lot of power to go to the opposite field, as Mac Williamson will lead things off. After Williamson, Hunter Pence, and Gorkys Hernandez. Right, I'm telling you, there is, you have to search high and low to find a bad shot. Like, this is just one of the more picturesque cities and certainly areas around the ballpark. It is, it's gorgeous. It really is. Did a nice job with this place. And apparently, you opened it up, right?
I was here. I was, as a Dodger. I don't remember what year it was. It was in the 90s. When did this ballpark open up? 2000
maybe? I'll double check.
Yeah.
Finish your story.
I was here. No, I was here. I witnessed the 3 home runs by Kevin Elster that day.
First strikeout of the day for Jose Urena. And there's one out in the second. April 11th, 2000.
Oh, thank you.
You're right.
Yeah, I'm right that I was there.
Yeah, I think I meant to say you're welcome, but I said you're right. So I just.
Well, you're absolutely right. I was there.
And you're right. I'm right. And Pence is out. And there's 2 down. How about this for the in the media guide, the design description. Classic urban ballpark with an old-time feel and all the amenities of modern ballparks, inspired by Wrigley Field and Fenway Park and modeled after Oriole Park at Camden Yards, Jacobs Field, which is now Progressive in Cleveland, and Coors Field.
Yeah, I see that.
And with the water beyond the right field wall, it reminds me a little bit of Pittsburgh, PNC, tiny bit of Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. And Urena makes the play. And a 1-2-3 inning here in the second. There it is. McCovey Cove and AT Park.
Marlins fans. Now you can stream games live on your mobile device with Fox Sports Go, presented by Coors Light. Download the app, take Fox Sports Florida and Marlins baseball wherever you go.
9-1-2 due up for the Marlins. Jose Urena to lead it off against Eric Holland, and he takes a called strike. Then it's Starlin Castro and Brian Anderson. A nice 1-2-3 bottom of the second for Urena. Cut on and missed. 0-2. Trying to become the first right-handed hitter to get one into McCovey Cove on that swing. And now lays down the bunt in front of home plate. Tough time with it, and the double clutch by Hundley and the hustle of Urena. And bunting with 2 strikes may have caught him a little off guard. Hundley went down to grab it, and he came up empty on the first attempt. And Urena is aboard.
A tremendous effort from Urena. Pops his bunt up. Kind of actually even backs up towards Hundley right there. Didn't get a clean pick off that dirt. So he has it spinning back to him. Urena definitely beats it out. The Marlins in business. Well done.
Well, that's why Urena was the pinch runner on Monday night, because of that speed.
Oh, there's no doubt.
It's going to be an E2 on Nick Hundley. Castro fouls that one off. It's got to be because of that double clutch, right? That unable to field it cleanly the first time, right?
Well, I'm sure that's where they're going to go with it. Still a fantastic thought, executed bunt by Urena. Gave himself a chance.
Castro toward left center field. Gorkys Hernandez waves off Hunter Pence, and Jose Urena is about to get doubled up.
I'm not sure what's going on there.
He was about 30 feet from third base.
Yep, just kept going. I struggle to say that he didn't know how many outs there were. This is, yeah, I don't know. As an analyst, I think this might be the first time in my 2 years in the booth that I'm completely locked up. I don't have an explanation for this. He just bunted to get on, leading off the inning. You see Urena, I mean, this is a routine. This is about as routine a fly ball as you're going to get, right? Watch Urena. Just going. He's all the way over to third base. So we'll just move on.
Here's Brian Anderson.
I mean, if there were, an out in the inning, if there were, it was a sacrifice bunt, there was a runner on first, you could kind of argue that he misplaced the outs, or sometimes that happens. I've done it myself in my career defensively. In that instance, he just laid down a pretty decent bunt leading off the inning.
Look the other way if you think I'm going to get on somebody else for having a brain cramp. Nope. Not going to happen, pal.
Yeah.
Does it happen? Yes. Is it inexcusable? Probably. 2-1 to Anderson. And that will get into the seats. Anderson struck out in the first inning. All 3 of the strikeouts for Holland today in that first inning. Got Castro looking, and Anderson and Real Muto swinging. Two and two, and a ground ball, base hit up the middle for Anderson. Make it an 18-game on-base streak as he keeps the inning alive with a 2-out base hit. After this one wraps up, Marlins will get on a plane, head to Denver, enjoy the night off, the day off, and then Friday night, Wei-Yin Chen, Jonathan Gray, your 2 starting pitchers. Marlins live pregame show on the air at 8 o'clock Eastern time, and the First pitch at Coors Field a little after 8:30. Check on Anderson. It gets away from Belt, and over to second he goes.
Yeah, it's got that feel. 12:45 start time. A lot of energy and emotion in last night's ball game. This is just a missed catch.
I think
and tag.
I think Derek Holland picked off Brandon Belt.
Well,
more
it's
than
part
he
of
did
it.
the runner.
But again, he had a chance to catch the ball and keep it in front of him. I mean, the fact that it did hit off his glove and then tag. It's just sometimes you see this on day games. He's get a little off track, off kilter, and I think that is the theme so far. No batting practice today. No on-field activities before the game. This is what you call a show and go game.
For the players, there weren't on-field activities. There was some sort of a home run derby thing going on for about 35 minutes. Trust me, we heard all about it. Some sort of a I don't know, yeah, home run derby promotion type of thing. You got Giants down the left field line trying to get their work in. Marlins down the right field line. Pings of the aluminum bat going everywhere. Anderson at second. 0-2 on Real Muto. The inning started innocently enough, I suppose, with a 2-strike bunt for Jose Urania. He reached on the error. A fly ball out to center field, and Urania was doubled up. And the Real Muto down the left field line this time. And foul. Anderson a 2-out base hit. And moved to second on the error.
Well, JT's done a fantastic job in this situation throughout this 2018 season, hitting .295 with runners in scoring position, 2 outs.
Chopper to second. Panic waits for the big hop. Unloads to first. A low throw. But Belt comes up with it. Through 2.5. 1-0 Miami. Form in the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Miami Marlins. I'm telling you, you do a 3-game series, 4-game series here, you, as they say in the business, bump out a break with shots to this city. It never gets old. Alcatraz. That's how you want to go to Alcatraz, leaving it, seeing it in your rearview mirror. Have you been there?
Not.
To tour it? No. All your trips out here? No.
Nope.
Neither have I.
You'll have to do that next time.
Yeah. They do Uber boats. Grab an Uber boat out there, canoe it or something.
Swim?
I don't think that's going to happen there, pal. Not with your boy. I'm not getting in that water. Ball and 2 strikes to Derek Holland. And that is the second strike out of the afternoon for Jose Urena. One away here in the third.
He makes quick work. Well, Holland has done a nice job. He's a good pitch count so far. Urena picking up where he left off last start against the Baltimore Orioles. He's already recorded 3 ground ball outs, a couple of strikeouts. First time through the lineup.
And a strike to Kelby Tomlinson, who took over in the first inning, was not in the original starting lineup. It was Alan Hansen. But in that first inning at bat, Hansen fouled one off both his left knee and right ankle or heel area. And Tomlinson finished the at bat. Terrific ball to strike ratio today for Urena.
He's thrown 27 strikes. I think of the 33 pitches he's thrown, he has been all over it this afternoon.
It was at 112 and 68 in Baltimore. On a hop to Castro, and Tomlinson's out.
Get an exclusive Billy the Martin pool float presented by AutoNation when you enter the ballpark on Saturday, June 30th, as the Marlins take on the Mets. Purchase your tickets today at marlins.com/tickets.
Kind of looks like the pool float's in the cove.
Well done.
We got a good crew, very creative. Best in the biz. That's what it said on the promo. Kidding, folks. Joe Panik, a line drive out to Maben in left in the third, and a roller to second to end it. A 10-pitch inning for Jose Urena, 1-0. In Birmingham, Alabama, the South 9-5 over the North. A number of Jacksonville representatives. Of course, Monte Harrison, one of the big prospects that has been added to this much improved farm system of the Marlins. as Cameron Maben will lead off the 4th inning. That one right back to the screen. 0-1. Maben with a double and a run scored back in the 2nd.
A real nice approach. 2 strikes, went the other way. That right field line ended up scoring on the Rojas base hit.
Maben, Bourne, Brinson against Holland here in the 4th. Now left center and falling, and Pence is going to make the catch but out of trap, and it's a base hit for Maben.
Well, now 5 for 5 in his career against Holland. Pence, I want to say he necessarily went back originally. Just a little bit of a delay on his pursuit. See that sometimes on a day game here at AT&T. No clouds in the sky. Sun right over the top of the stadium.
Justin Bour takes a called strike. Bour walked in the 2nd inning but was erased on a double play. Well, Hunter Pence getting his first taste of left field this year. For a great deal of his career, a right fielder. But with the addition of Andrew McCutchen, they most days stick him out in right field, and Pence, when he plays, which has been a little bit more sporadic here in 2018, he'll be out in left.
Well, since coming off the disabled list, you're absolutely right. Starts have not been there every day for Pence. I've seen him out a couple of times here this 3-game series, working early not only on his defense but his offense as well.
Ground ball off the glove of Holland, who recovers and gets Bour by a step. To second goes Maben.
Are you ready for storm season? We are. See how you can prepare at fpl.com/storm.
One on and one out now for Lewis Brinson. To finish that thought on Pence, you mentioned he was on the DL earlier this year. This is a guy who, it's kind of funny to say, seeing as we were just in Baltimore, where Cal Ripken Jr. played in 2,632 games, but he was baseball's Iron Man for a little while.
Right.
383 consecutive games played. He was hit by a pitch in the 3rd game of spring training, so the streak officially came to an end on opening day. But a guy who, for the most part, the first, however many years of his career, pretty durable. It's amazing. 383 at the time was the longest streak in baseball. What's half of 2632? I wonder if anybody even gets there. $13.16, is that math right? 1,316 games. Just nod and agree, that's fine.
Brinson down in the count, 0-2. Holland's really thrown him a number of sliders and curveballs. He was able to get in on his hands his last at bat.
They expect him to pull on the infield. Brandon Belt about 30-40 feet off the first base bag. panic up near the second base bag.
Well, we've seen Holland try a number of times that first time through the lineup to put hitters away at the top of the strike zone with his fastball. I think he would be ambushed by Brinson if he goes up there again. Brinson has done a very nice job here in the month of June handling that fastball up, which is out over the plate.
Brinson started the day hitting .283 in June. 2 doubles, 3 triples, 3 homers, 11 RBIs this month. Here's the 1-2 pitch inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. The South Florida Honda dealers present Marlins live on Friday night. Craig Minervini, Jeff Nelson, as they will get us ready for the first game of a 3-game set. 8 o'clock Eastern time. Again, first pitch a little after 8:30. Cut on and miss, strike 3.
Well, that has been the temptation for Brinson this afternoon. Holland able to execute that breaking ball down in the zone. Brinson has struggled with this just a bit in the first few months of the season. Much better high ball hitter down in the zone. Some vulnerability there. Obviously the strikeout.
And now Miguel Rojas, who had that RBI single to bring home Maben in the second inning. Maben in scoring position again here in the fourth.
It'll be interesting to see how Holland attacks Rojas. You've got the lefty Riddle in the on-deck circle.
Pops this one up right field, and Mac Williamson is there for out number 3. Marlins strand 1 through 3.5. They have a 1-0 lead.
And their accomplishments. That includes relief pitcher Rob Nen. For most of his career, he was a closer. Here's the plaque commemorating his 300th save. Guys, he had a total of 314 saves. 108 of those came as a Marlin.
Thank you, Jessica. Back here for the bottom of the 4th inning as Brandon Belt takes a called strike from Jose Urania. It's Belt, Sandoval, and Nick Hundley.
I had the chance to catch up with Rob last year in the booth. Good to stop by, make a visit. Good to catch up. Fantastic career.
He had that little toe tap thing, right, in the delivery.
He kind of, as a hitter, you felt that weight coming forward, and it was almost like he stopped himself.
And 3 men on the right side of the infield, and Belt found a hole. Took a big turn around first base, but will stay put. Softly hit base hit to the outfield.
Yeah, this is what shifting gets you if you're willing to do it. You only run up one infielder, one Marlins infielder on the left side. And this certainly not going to turn into an out if there's nobody there. So Belt picks up his second hit of the game.
It was Belt and Sandoval that had the back-to-back hits in the first inning. But between then and a moment ago when Belt got the knock, Urania had retired all the Giants he'd faced in between. Working quickly and efficiently today is Jose Urania. At 40 pitches here in the fourth inning. Did the same thing last time against the Orioles. Mentioned the 8 scoreless, but he had a one-hitter into the 7th inning. Already given up 3 hits this afternoon. Made so much of how Urania had failed to get wins despite the fact that he's been pitching a lot better as of late. And that's when the sabermetric crowd chimes in with, well, then just get rid of the win. Well, yeah, okay, that's all well and good. Ground ball, tailor-made, double play.
Well, that's a big part of Urania's game, the ability to get the ball on the ground. Sandoval had hit into 5 coming into that at bat, now 6 on the season. Nice job by Urania. Leadoff hit. Tailor-made double play. 4-6-3.
Two outs for Nick Hundley. Yeah, 2 wins and 3 starts after having not picked up a win since last September for Urania. Opened the season with a 5.88 ERA over his first 5 starts. 10 starts since. 3.47. Not including the 3 2/3 here today.
Those numbers across the board have been fantastic this year. I mean, you kind of even get into a lot of the ones that, you know, break down who he is sabermetrically.
Floated out to right field. That'll fall in between Anderson and Castro. Base hit for Hundley.
Well, some of these numbers just kind of getting back to Urania. On base percentage, slugging percentage, OPS, strikeouts in 9 innings, walks per 9, home runs per 9. They're all at career best levels right now for Urania. He's been in a great spot. I know that 2-8 record certainly catches everybody's attention. You look at that 4.18 ERA and you say, okay, he's been good. Maybe he hasn't been great. He's actually been a lot better than that. And if you're looking for improvement based on who he's been in his career already, he's been much better this season than even last.
He started opening day, and you know, you figure the first couple 3 weeks of the season you're going to match up against a lot of aces. It's just the way everybody's kind of got the same amount of days off in between, or they just happen to fall. He has, it seems like, faced ace after ace after ace. In on the hands of Williamson. Running play for Riddle gets him by a step at first. We are through 4 with Urania and the Marlins up 1-0. quest for World Cup glory continues as Argentina looks for a crucial win against Croatia. It all kicks off at 1 p.m. Eastern, or stream it live on the Fox Sports app. Derek Holland, as Riddle pops that one foul on the bunt attempt. Holland out for the fifth, and he'll face Riddle, Urania, and Castro, 8, 9, and 1, with the Marlins up 1-0. It's really been a theme to the season for Urania, and he's not gotten a lot of run support. That's part of the reason why it took him so long to get his first W of the season. Grounded to Panic. 1 out.
Well, you'd like to think that, you throw out some numbers like that, it would help elevate his game. If you know that you're only getting 2.7 runs per game in every start that you go out there, and if you're giving up more than that and you're piling up the losses, the only thing you can control is pitching better. Minimizing that damage as quickly and as simply as possible. He's been efficient of late. He's been getting tons of ground balls, and he's been doing a fantastic job of keeping this Marlins team on and off the field. I talk about that an awful lot. Now, Randy wasn't necessarily great at that last year. Of course, last year he picked up a lot of wins. But again, that idea that when you get out on the mound, make your pitches, get your defense, let them be involved, and then get off the field and get the offense rolling again. Even today, that's been a little bit more of the theme, is that he pitches with such good tempo. You love playing behind him as a defender.
And I just think, as a fan, that whether it's Urania or anybody, that just makes it for a more exciting game when there's actually action. Everybody, you appreciate the 17, 18 strikeout effort every once in a while, but when it's not a lot of action, it's not that much fun. Time for This Day in Marlins History, presented to you by Geico. A 7-2 win for the Marlins over the Rockies in 1995, and Terry Matthews, the first Marlins pitcher to log 3 hits in a game. Won the game in relief. Bobby Witt got the start, 3 for 3, 2 doubles, 2 RBIs. 324 big league games. He hit .391. He's 9 for 23, but .391. Starlin Castro cuts and misses, and it's a ball and a strike. Yeah, I think it's just nicer to see the ball in play. There's just more going on. The walks, the strikeouts, the home runs, the 3 true outcomes. It adds up to a lot of standing around.
Waiting for the next big swing. And most of them end up in strikeouts.
Five strikeouts today for Holland, with 2 outs in the 5th. Make it 6. As Castro is down on strikes for the 2nd time today, to the bottom of the 5th. Baseball on Fox Sports Florida is brought to you by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. The Cleveland Clinic. Stiff joints, aches, and pains. Trust Cleveland Clinic, Florida, the #1 orthopedic care in Florida. And by the Lincoln Spring Sales Event. Drive into spring in a new Lincoln. Back for the last of the 5th inning. Hunter Pence, Gorkys Hernandez, and Derek Holland due up. As Pence punches that one foul, he grounded out to shortstop in the 2nd inning. And earlier we were talking about his, at the time, it was the longest consecutive games played streak back when he was hit by a pitch in spring. In 2015 opening day didn't play, so there was 383. And again, at the time, as he did go around, says Laz Diaz, that was the longest. Right now it's Alcides Escobar at 406. And who would have thunk the Marlins have a guy who's 5th most consecutive games played, Brian Anderson, 80. Shocking, as Urania gets his 3rd strikeout of the day.
Well, it certainly has been impressive what Brian Anderson has accomplished this year, earning that playing time. We've talked about the opportunity for many. He's really held on to his starting spot by going out there and performing every day. Good quality at bats, good defense. Oh, by the way, he's taken on a new position. So he has been an everyday answer for Don Mattingly and his staff.
Two balls and no strikes to Gorkys Hernandez, who grounded back to Urania to end the 2nd. Anderson leading all rookies in games played. He's played in every game this year for the Marlins. And hopefully he'll play in one more in July, folks. You can help him get there, as Hernandez is retired for the 2nd out. Here's our Florida Lottery in-game jackpot as Derek Holland digs in. The Giants hitting 270 as a club during day games this year. Only the Boston Red Sox at 276 have a higher average. See the ball better during the day. I'm surprised the Cubs, with all the day game at bats that they have and such a potent lineup that they possess, wouldn't be higher on the list. Not even in the top 5.
Well, 57 pitches. He makes quick work of Holland here, which he certainly would like to do. He's in great position to go long this afternoon. He's been efficient. He's been attacking the strike zone. He's fallen behind only a handful of hitters. Look at this breakdown by inning. That is control. My goodness. It's barely double digits over the last 3.
How much of that's the slider that Don Mattingly says is an improving pitch?
There's no doubt. But in all honesty, it's been a combination of both his secondary pitches, really, to the left and right-handed hitters.
That a fastball. And another strikeout for him. 2 in the inning, 4 in the day. He is through 5 with a 1-0 lead. 500 in that American League East, and with the way that the Yankees and Red Sox have been playing, I don't know if any team is going to catch him. So that's why you're starting to hear Jay Happ's name be thrown around in trade rumors. Last few years he's been really impressive.
Well, he's dealing, right? He's got a contract that it's not breaking the bank, if you know what I mean. He's signed a 3-year deal, I believe it was a couple seasons ago in Toronto, so he's not somebody who could put you in a bad position financially, and he's pitching with the big boys. 9-3 record.
Brian Anderson with his second hit of the day, another multi-hit effort, 25 to lead all rookies.
Brian Anderson came into this afternoon's game with an .839 OPS against lefties. He's been doing just about everything right. So yeah, whatever the situation dictates, kind of executes it. I mentioned many times over the last month or so, you watch his eyes, you watch his body language, watch where his hands are in the bat, and he'll tell you what he's thinking and what his approach needs to be against that particular pitcher in that moment. And you almost always see it play out. I mean, you can almost tell when Brian Anderson's thinking, all right, I'm going to go the other way. Runners in scoring position. We've told you, .417 batting average this year. Right there in that situation, looking to pull early. What's he do? He pulls the baseball. I mean, very few hitters really kind of tip their hand that way, but he really does. Kind of tells you what he's thinking.
Fouled off Real Muto, and it's a ball and a strike. Saw a ball fouled off of Alan Hansen in the first inning. Got an update on his condition. It's a left knee contusion for the Giants shortstop. I mentioned before, you can go online and vote for Brian Anderson to play an extra game in July, or JT Real Muto. Not even in the top 5 in voting for catchers.
Well, let me throw this out there, though, because I thought it was great. I was kind of perusing this morning, following up. We've talked, obviously, an awful lot about JT, and we certainly put it out there as much as we possibly can, but people are starting to take notice. Did see a couple national articles today on the fact, guys that were being snubbed for the All-Star game, and right there at the top of the list, JT Real Muto. So, people are starting to write about it. Hopefully that buzz picks up and people start to vote the guy who's putting up the best numbers.
It comes up empty there. Another strikeout for Holland. He's up to 7. Season high in strikeouts, 8. In his second start of the season against the Diamondbacks.
Well, let's see if Maben can keep it going. He's got a couple hits today. 5 for 5 in his career against Holland now.
Singled and scored in the second, singled in the fourth. He'll take strike 1.
Well, both base hits came with 2 strikes.
These are the types of games that the Marlins feel most comfortable in. These tight, low-scoring affairs. There's been a lot of those. Certainly played some tight games, even when the Giants have jumped out to leads in the first 6.5. They've been able to erase those deficits.
Well, to your point, that's really been the advantage. Obviously, we've talked, throughout this set, kind of referring to, the series in Miami as well. Obviously, the 3 games here in San Francisco. The one thing that the Giants have not done particularly well, their last 8 losses have been by 1 or 2 runs. So again, we get back to playing the Marlins brand of baseball, even trying to get that out there on the road. Many times it turns itself into wins. The Marlins have not had problems with the bullpen. The bullpen's been outstanding lately. Offense has responded late in ball games. Very confident in those positions.
Marlins trying to win another series. Top of the zone, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
A little bit of a delayed call right there. Maybe not too happy about it. Hitters know. I think that if you were to ask Maben right away, he'd say, all right, that's a borderline pitch. But then you kind of had that little delay where you thought, all right, well, I'm going to get that call. It's going to change the course of this at bat. 3-1 to 2-2, and then he calls it a strike.
The Giants have played extremely well here. Just mentioned the Marlins trying to win a series. If the Marlins do that, this would be the first time that the Giants lose a home series since April 9th through the 11th. 6-0-1 in the 7 home series since.
They're 8-2 in their last 10 games. A different brand of baseball, very offensive. We've obviously seen some of that in the first 2 games of this series, averaging over 5 runs a game. And so far, Jose Urena has been in complete control. He is the one writing the storyline right now.
In the dirt, count runs full. Up to 84 pitches for Derek Holland. Surrendered 5 hits, 2 of them to the guy at the plate. Runner goes and tapped foul. With 1 out on 3-2, if you go on 1, do you go on all?
Yeah, and again, you know, I was watching Anderson pretty closely right there. It wasn't trying to steal a base. That's more of a situation where you're going and you're trusting Maben to put the ball in play, and you as the base runner getting a read off of the contact, anticipating it. This is Mattingly trusting Maben. Again, we've talked about the 5 for 5, the good at bats this afternoon. I would anticipate Anderson going again, yes.
Time was called. Looked like Holland was about ready to check on Anderson over at first.
He's trying to ice him just a little bit, but again, you know, this isn't Brian Anderson looking to steal a base. This is merely putting a runner in motion to avoid the double play or, you know, any kind of contact on that infield.
He does go again, and he can slow down as Maben has worked the walk. 2 on 1 out for Justin Bour. Marlins looking to add on to a 1-0 lead, take 2 of 3 from the Giants today. Our Toyota Inside Look shows that the Marlins since 2011 have won the season series against San Francisco 6 times. 32-20 overall, including 18-8 here at Marlins Park. An opportunity here to tack on. Ball 1 to Bour. Just 2 walks today for Derek Holland. 1 to Maben a moment ago, and 1 to Bour back in the 2nd. Bour also grounded back to the mound in the 4th. No swing, says the third base umpire, Andy Fletcher.
Yeah, I'll tell you, that's why I always swung a black bat. If I ever told you, you know, when you use the white, umpires, they used to tell you that when you swing the white, it was always, again, it could be a little bit easier to pick up your swing. You know, you swing path and on a check swing. So when you swing a black bat, it was a little bit harder. Of course, it's a day game, so I've started down this path. Of course, we're not playing a day game, but that was always the
really
the
it's a little more deceptive.
Absolutely.
Interesting. Cody Gearin up for the Giants.
Yeah, black bats at night, white during the day, and I realized that Bour doesn't have his usual white bat in his hand. He's got his two-tone. But that is very, very true. As I tell you, it's a lot harder to tell on that check swing.
Holland's next pitch will be number 90. Corey Guerin, who hasn't pitched in this series here but did pitch in Miami against the Marlins, is in the pen as Bohr grounds one to Panic. Tomlinson, Belt. A double play to get Holland through 6, but it's the Marlins up 1-0.
Side of a ballpark, but that's exactly what they have here at AT Park. Check this out. We've got strawberries, we've got eggplant, we've got celery, we've got kale. And what's cool, not only is this pretty, but it's also functional. The Giants use it to create garden-inspired refreshments.
Flatbreads, look at that. Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, local beer and wine on tap. It's a real live beer garden out there.
Absolutely. Beer, comma, garden.
There you go.
There you go. That's awesome. There are a lot of cool things around this ballpark. Yeah. You know, a lot of, I mean, usually it's like the Sunday night game, they do that. They'll do the broadcast from around the ballpark. And as a fan, I sit there and I wonder, what's the difference? But as a broadcaster, I'm like, why can't we do that? And now Tomlinson down after fouling one off his foot, just like Alan Hansen before him, but he's up quickly.
Oh, right. My goodness, right off that ankle. Just missed the shoe top. No padding there at all.
Kyle Bearclaw, Jersey on the right side. He's got family out here from Santa Clara as Tomlinson works the walk in the 6th. Just the first walk of the afternoon for Jose Urania.
Are you ready for storm season? We are. See how you can prepare at fpl.com/storm.
One on, nobody out for Joe Panic. Turns away from that one. It's a ball and no strikes. A line drive to left in the 1st inning. And a ground ball to 2nd in the 3rd for Panic, who is 0 for 2 today. Tying run is aboard here in the 6th inning.
You can see Urania, he's not missing by much, just off a little. Enough to fall behind these Giant hitters. Certainly do not want to add any more traffic to the bases with Belt and Sandoval lurking.
right center field, and that's going to get in there for a base hit. Anderson cuts it off. And that will keep Tomlinson at second base and keep the double play in order. Because if that one gets into that alley, Giants have tied the game, and Panic's probably on third.
Well, Panic finally gets a pitch up. Starting to come around. He has been really struggling since coming off the disabled list. He'll drive one into right center. Anderson does a nice job of cutting it off. You're absolutely right. This is the situation you were looking to avoid. Again, the two hottest hitters right now against him this afternoon, Sandoval and Belt, looking to do damage here in the sixth. And his pitch count just fine. 69 pitches. Again, very aggressive, down in the zone.
Well, on the whole, Urania has been pitching very good his last handful of starts, but when things go awry, it seems to happen quickly and in bunches. Pops away from Real Muto, but he's able to get to it quickly, and Tomlinson stays at second base. You pointed that out a couple of starts ago. It's like hit homer.
Don't blink. Yeah, and this is what happens to him sometimes. See, look, I mean, there's been consistency throughout. I mean, a little bit higher numbers there that third time through. But part of that is that quick attack at times we see from the other team's offense, their approach. And right about now is you would see him groove a fastball. That's the one thing he's avoided over his last 3 or 4 starts. Juan Nieves is going to pop out and visit the mound, trying to control that situation and the emotion, and this is where you see Urania at times get frustrated. And this is what you love about him as a teammate. He's a bulldog. He's aggressive. He goes at hitters. He doesn't want to back down. But at the same time, a few of these moments this year, and he's certainly done it early on in his career, he'll get too aggressive in this situation. It's like, all right, fine. And you'll see a 96-mile-an-hour fastball right down the middle of the plate. And to your point, it turns into that 4-run inning. I mean, it was only, 4 or 5 starts ago against the Braves we saw just that. Cruising along, retired the first 12 batters, and then 16 pitches later, he was chasing 4 runs. He's got to be very, very careful here.
Approaching that threshold of 76 or more pitches where the batting average goes up. In terms of the velocity, it stayed in his last start when he was 8 scoreless against the Orioles. Belt pops this one up left side, and Maben gives it a look. 2-1.
Outside of the 2 for 2 today for Belt. And this is only his 26th game here at AT Park. Most of their schedule has had them on the road. Of course, he had the appendectomy and missed some time on the disabled list as well. But get this, 7 homers and 20 RBIs in 25 games coming in. That's some big-time production from Belt.
Here's the 2-1. Left side again. And into the first row this time. Now for both corner outfielders, that's what's tricky about this ballpark. One of the many things that's tricky about this ballpark is that it's one of the last, if not the last, that still has the bullpen mounds on the field. And they are just a couple of inches from the foul line down both lines.
And you got to do your best as the corner outfielder to get to that spot fast. Oof. Yeah, you really do. See any pop flies down the line, do your best to get over there and try to get underneath and comfortable before that ball comes down so that you're not flying over the mounds. All right, big pitch right here, 3-2.
Out to right center field. Brinson ranging over, and that one is going to fall and bounce over the wall. Marlins caught a break there because only 1 run will score. Panic would have scored easily behind Tomlinson, but an RBI double for Brennan Belt has tied this game in the 6th. 3rd hit of the day for Belt.
Well, he works the count full and gets a pitch to his liking at the knees. A short, quick, compact swing. This ball is hit a long, long way. Brinson kind of shading him over just a little bit the other way based on the circumstances. Brandon Belt in the middle of it all. They're going to intentionally walk Pablo Sandoval, would certainly make some sense. I told you about Urania's ability to get the ground ball. He's going to need one right here. The base is loaded.
And officially the second walk this afternoon for Jose Urania. But it brings up Nick Hundley. 3 homers, 8 RBIs in his last 7 games entering today. Had a base hit in the 4th inning. Marlins will play the corners even with the bags. Middle infielders are back at double play depth. And what is now a 1-1 game. Grounded foul, 0-1. Panic belt Sandoval, third to first. Still nobody out in the inning. A walk, a single, a double, an intentional walk. Well, Hundley's ready. A couple of healthy hacks there, but down to the count 0-2.
Big month of June for Hundley. See the numbers. He's been quite productive. I told you he's the offensive backup catcher.
And throw to third. We've seen that the last few weeks from the Marlins. Successful the last 2 times they tried it, but Panic close enough to the second base bag.
Well, he's got Hundley set up, certainly on point with the 97-mile-an-hour 2-seam fastball in towards the hands. If he can get that slider sweeping away, he may just get a strikeout in a big spot.
Oh, look at Starlin Castro making a play over there at second base on the stray balloon, and he gets boos because he popped the balloon. Hey, what's he supposed to do with it? Carry it around?
As long as they don't throw at him.
Low and in at 97 miles an hour. Swung on and missed. A big strikeout of Hundley. And there's one away.
That is a huge, huge out. Hundley even cheating to the pitch, almost like he knew it was coming. Probably felt JT maybe moving around just a little bit. You watch JT set up to that inside part. That front side on Hundley kind of opens up early. Watch that front foot. See, Leaky. Yeah, he's thinking about it and still beat him. Nicely done.
Not out of the woods yet. Here's Mac Williamson. First one is popped up foul down the right field line. Marlins defense the same against Williamson as it was against Hundley. Corners even with the bag. Infield, middle infield back. Straight back, 0-2. Grounded out his last time did Williamson. Struck out in the second and takes just low. A ball and 2 strikes.
Well, this is a pretty good example of how much Don Mattingly trusts Urania. Not even a hint of activity in the Marlins bullpen. Think how much he has grown over the last 2 seasons to where he is right now. Don Mattingly's got to be proud of what Urania has been able to accomplish. It was only maybe earlier even this season we would see probably double barrel action in the bullpen. Trying to keep this game close. He trusts Urania more than anybody else.
1-2. And Rojas gets to it. A wide throw of the second base bag, but Castro is able to keep a toe on second base. They get the one. Great effort by Rojas. That probably gets through and likely drives in a pair. Instead, 1 run scores and they get the out at second. Runners on first and third, but it's 2-1 Giants.
Hard hit ground ball, but Rojas does a nice job. Almost able to bounce up and turn this double play. We get that out at second base. It's the ground ball you want, but you can't a lot of times pick your place. Have to have been right at Rojas, but not in this instant.
So the Giants have taken a lead. 2 runs in this inning. Belt the runner at third. Williamson at first. And here's Hunter Pence. Out to right field. Anderson will play it on a hop. He gets it in. And over to third goes Williamson. It's now 3-1 San Francisco.
Well, third hit of the inning for the Giants. 1 out away from getting out of it. Beats Pence, but pulls those hands through. Able to dump it down the right field line. It's a big hit for the Giants. And now gives them a 2-run lead. It wasn't hit hard, but it was hit in the right spot.
And a big hit for Pence. Had 1 hit in his last 16 at bats coming into today. 0 for 2 before that RBI single. Now Gorky's Hernandez. Still no one up in the Marlins pen. Well, once again, it's happened kind of quickly for Urania. He walked Tomlinson to lead off the inning. Now 0-2 to Hernandez. A walk and then a single for Panic. An RBI double for Belt. They walked Sandoval to load the bases. Got a huge strikeout of Hundley. Got the ground ball to the left side to retire Williamson. A great play by Rojas to get the runner at second. But then an RBI for Pence, and the Giants have scored 3 in the inning. Reyes Moranta for the Giants in their bullpen. Runner goes. This one tapped foul. Derek Holland in the on-deck circle, depending on how this rest of this bottom of the 6th goes for the Giants. Holland hasn't been all that bad either. Surrendered the 1 run and 5 hits. But on his side of things, 2 walks and 7 strikeouts. What's been different for Urania in this inning?
Well, you've had some added traffic. He fell behind a couple of hitters early, and then you run into the one guy that, probably play the immunity card with Belt. I mean, Urania, you say almost always wins, but I look at Belt and think he's in a great spot right now, starting to see the ball again, and has always hit well at this park. That was the one matchup today that I really was thinking, boy, he's got to be real careful with Belt. He's making his way back from the disabled list. I think this is his 5th game now. And he came up in the key spot here in the 6th inning, able to drive the ball. RBI double kind of set things up. Runners on 2nd and 3rd to follow. So you kind of go back to that beginning of the inning. Tomlinson drawing the leadoff walk, just missing. I mean, just by a little bit. It wasn't erratic.
Pence again goes. No throw down to second base. And it's a stolen base.
This is actually a pretty good pitch. Well inside the strike zone. I do wonder if the home plate umpire was thrown off by JT popping out from behind home plate. With his second stolen base allowed while Urania has been on the mound. Yeah, and sometimes we've seen this inning. I mean, we've seen it before. You know, you add the intentional walk, you got some traffic, you get the ground ball, but you can't turn the double play. And, you know, he doesn't make a terrible pitch to Pence. You know, Pence does a nice job of fighting it off at 97 miles an hour, and he ends up dumping it down the right field line. Next thing you know, you look, he's giving up 3 runs.
1-2 to Hernandez. This is low and in. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Gorkis Hernandez having the best first half of his career. 41st start in center field today. He's putting together big time at bats. He's become a threat offensively. I mentioned the day he had yesterday, 3 hits, a couple of ground outs today. He's already got a career high in homers with 8.
Adam Conley up. 95 pitches as Urania has worked hard in this inning and worked hard to try to retire Gorkis Hernandez, who may have broken his bat on that foul ball.
Well, 10 pitches. Yeah, you're absolutely right. He's kind of throwing everything at him. You've seen the slider. You've even seen a couple of changeups from Urania. There's the fastball. This will be the 12th pitch.
And yet again. Wasn't it Brandon? It was Brandon Belt, right? In Anaheim earlier this year, had like 21 pitch at bat. It was Belt, wasn't it?
Yeah, that sounds right.
It's like a 12-minute at bat.
If I remember correctly, Belt didn't actually get a hit. I think he lines out in that at bat, but had a huge day. I think he had a couple of home runs. Ultimately, ended up having a huge day offensively. .21 pitches, 16 fouls. 12-minute at bat.
Think about the mental focus it takes for 12 minutes as a hitter. This one to right center field, and it's going to get down for a base hit. Williamson and Pence score, and that is a heck of an at bat for Gorkis Hernandez, who drives in 2, and the Giants extend the lead to 5-1.
Well, what typically and classically happens when the more pitches you see late in the ball game, the stronger and more confident you become as a hitter. Juan Nieves waving down to the bullpen to see if Conley's ready, because here comes Don Mattingly, and I think that's what Hernandez just did. All those pitches put him in a good, confident spot. Big double. Excuse me, single.
So Mattingly is going to make a double switch as he talks it over with the home plate umpire, Jansen Visconti. Adam Conley gets an extra warm-up toss or 2. We'll work out who's in and who's out. The Florida Lottery call to the bullpen here in San Francisco with the Giants in front 5-1. frame alone. Everyone deserves a second chance. Just play Grouper. Enter your lucky money ticket online, and you're registered for the $400,000 Super Grouper Second Chance promotion. The Florida Lottery, it's your ticket. Must be 18 or older to play. Play responsibly. So, as part of the double switch, Derek Dietrich takes over for Cameron Maben in left field. And Adam Conley is on the hill. He'll face Derek Holland, who does get a chance to hit for himself. So Bochy has liked what he has seen from Holland enough to keep him in the ballgame. That and the fact that the Giants have scored 5 runs to take a 4-run lead here in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Yeah, that's kind of their mark. When they get the 5 runs here at AT Park, it almost always turns into a win. Conley's done a fantastic job out of the Marlins bullpen. Fastball changeup, the occasional slider. Good velocity, 95-96. Has done a fantastic job of attacking the strike zone.
The 0-1. The runner on first base, still the responsibility of Jose Urena. As Holland out to right field. Solid contact, but Anderson is there. Giants, though, tack on 5 runs, or score 5 runs. They have a 5-1 lead. In the bottom of the 6th, inside the broadcast booth, Paul Severino and Todd Hollingsworth. Well, it kind of happened quick. Jose Urena was in control for really the first 5 innings of this game.
He really was. He looked great. He was attacking the strike zone. Good two-seam fastball, good running action. You even saw it inside the zone, a lot of ground ball outs. And you get to that 1 inning where he seemed like he's in complete control. We started out like, boy, oh boy, he may go 9 innings today. And sometimes we see this with Urena. Guys put up good at bats. They, steal a base here. They have a, little soft contact there that goes their way, and unfortunately unable to get out of the inning. And next thing you know, you're chasing 5.
And it all started with a walk. So against Derek Holland, who's still in there for the 7th inning, how do they get to him?
Well, they're going to have to hope he makes some mistakes up in the zone. We've seen a few of them early, and they were able to capitalize on them. But generally speaking, he's mixed his pitches well and has stayed down. We told you about the home runs. Of course, there has not been one hit today. 11 home runs by the right-handed hitters. You'd like to think that might be a possibility this afternoon, but it has not. Holland has been in complete control, and any trouble he's gotten himself into, he's either used that slider to get out of it or gotten a ground ball out.
A broken bat and a fair ball for Lewis Brinson down the left field line. It'll be extra bases. Pence gets to it, but it's a leadoff double for Lewis Brinson here in the 7th. As he continues to swing a hot bat here in the month of June.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Catches it off the end, but perfectly placed down the third base line. Once it gets by Sandoval, you know he's going to get a double out of this. The barrel went flying. Another pretty good example of how well Brinson handles the ball up in the strike zone.
Out comes pitching coach Kurt Young, and out to the bullpen mound goes the lefty Tony Watson. Between Watson and Dyson, those are the guys that Bruce Bochy said yesterday will get the bulk of the closing opportunities, the save opportunities, in the absence of Hunter Strickland, who was a little frustrated after Monday's game. Broke his hand on a wall or a door, and he's going to be out for the foreseeable future. The thing about the Giants is they do have options in terms of quality arms, A, and B, guys who have saved games at some point in their careers quite regularly. Watson, Mark Melancon, Dyson. But right now it's Holland against Miguel Rojas as the Marlins try to chip away at a 4-run deficit here in the 7th inning. They've done that already quite a bit. We've talked about it ad nauseum the last week or so against the Giants. Let's see if they've got one more rally left.
Well, their best at bats a lot of times have come late in games. Developed a little bit of a pattern here where we see an aggressiveness from the Marlins hitters generally early in the game, and as the game wears on, you start to sense the willingness to see that extra pitch, to let the ball get a little deeper, to go the other way. That's what it's going to take this afternoon if the Marlins hope to get back in this one.
Well, this is a guy that will grind out at bats.
When you think about that on the whole, you're absolutely right. You kind of hinted at it. I think this Giants team is sick and tired of the Miami Marlins right now. Many times as they've been able to come back over the last 10 days or so.
I believe they've organized 25 limos to get the Marlins out of town after today's game.
That makes some sense, no doubt. Well, we kind of touched on it yesterday. I think the San Francisco Giants looked at their schedule even last week, thinking even the road trip that they were in position to make up games in the division. And they've in fact lost 3 games, almost going straight head to head with the Miami Marlins. They're chasing the Diamondbacks and the Dodgers now.
No swing, says Laz Diaz. 3 balls and a strike.
See, white bat. There we go. Better example.
Yeah. You're onto it. You're right on top of it. Brinson off of second, and a 3-1 on the way to Rojas. After Rojas, JT Riddle, and then Derek Dietrich, who came in as part of a double switch. Back to the screen, still 3-2. Riddle's been swinging a hot bat, but 0 for 2 today.
Guy at the front's the captain.
Yeah, the captain is right. Living the life. A foul ball. Nice play down the line, too.
I think earlier in the game, one thing Holland was doing so well was working that fastball in under the hands of the right-handed hitters, kind of setting up those secondary pitches really, really well. He's kind of gotten away from that a little bit. More pitches out over the plate, more away. Seen a little bit more pull from the Marlins right-handed hitters here lately.
Another payoff pitch to Rojas. Right field, and a base hit. Being held at third is Brinson. Nice at bat by Rojas, and it's 1st and 3rd. And out comes Bruce Bochy to make the move.
Well, I think any Marlins fan who's watched Miguel Rojas throughout his career knows when he's locked in, and it swings like that really speak to his success. Well done. 3-2 pitch going the other way. His second hit of the day.
That's going to do it for Derek Holland as he leaves to applause from the AT&T crowd. The Florida Lottery call to the bullpen. Changes on both sides. We'll explain when we come back. Watson is in for the 34th time this year, and he'll face Yadiel Rivera off the bench. Instead of the lefty Riddle against the lefty Watson, it's Rivera, who's had a nice road trip. Swings at the first pitch, fouls it straight back, 0-1.
Well, the San Francisco Giants trying to get one of their hotter bullpen arms into the ball game. You see Yadi's numbers. He's done a fantastic job pinch hitting this season. He's 5 for 17 with 3 walks.
Out to center field. Hernandez underneath it. Brinson tags from third. And he is in there easily. So it's a sacrifice fly off the bench for Yadiel Rivera. And the Marlins within 3.
The next all-you-can-eat Saturday is June 30th when the Marlins take on the Mets. Starting at just $30, you'll get a ticket to the game, unlimited Nathan's hot dogs, popcorn, peanuts, nachos, and Pepsi soft drinks, or Aquafina water. Purchase your tickets for all-you-can-eat Saturdays at marlins.com/AYCE.
Now Derek Dietrich. His first plate appearance of the day, and he takes outside from Watson.
I mentioned hot hands. Lefties 0 for their last 13 against Watson. That's why he's in this game. Sinker, changeup, slider. That's the arsenal for Watson. Does have closing experience.
And Dietrich with a base hit into right field. And update those lefty numbers.
1 for 14.
And back to the top of the order for Starlin Castro. Giants scored 5 in the bottom of the 6th. Marlins have gotten one back. A leadoff double for Brinson, and he came in on the sac fly by Yadiel Rivera. But a chance to get even closer with their most reliable run producers all due up. Inside moves the feet of Castro. Sliding over to keep it in front is Hundley. Ball and a strike.
Yeah, Marlins would love to get Castro going again. He's been scuffling a bit. That's a big spot in the ball game. Battling hard to keep that head on the ball. Seen him a little leaky on that front side. He's looking to pull. See if he can't find something. One of his favorite spots is the middle of the field. .241 with runners in scoring position.
Castro's been in a little bit of a funk lately, and now would be a great time to break out of it. Three for 23 on the road trip. There you go, a base hit through the left side. Rojas being waved around, and he will score on the RBI by Starlin Castro, and it's 5-3.
Well, the cardiac kids are at it again. Tell you what, they just kind of peck away at you. Next thing you know, you're marching that go-ahead run to the plate in the form of Brian Anderson. Well, this changeup up, really no life to it. Kind of stayed up above the knees at about 86 miles an hour. Starlin able to rip it into left. Well, good for Starlin right there. You know, he's been working hard and grinding, and just not getting the results he does right there. It was only his 6th RBI in his last 30 games.
Now Anderson. And he pops this one up. A fly ball out to right field. Williamson underneath it. Tagging from second is Dietrich. Here comes the throw, and it gets away from Tomlinson, and Dietrich thought about it, but Sandoval was right there to back up the throw. And now JT Realmuto. Sense the frustration of Anderson. Obviously, he's come through so much in those situations.
Just got underneath it to right. If I was going to pick anybody in this situation, I think JT Realmuto's due. He's had some hot moments here on this road trip. He's kind of led you down. Oh, is he cooling off just a little bit? And just when you start to think it, he comes through big time.
Couple of strikeouts today and a ground ball. Left field line, and that one hooks foul. .293 hitter. And the game gets late. Castro with an RBI single a moment ago, and it's a 2-run game.
JT already a 2-homer, 4 RBI game in Baltimore.
This one at short. Tomlinson doesn't know where it is. He's able to make the catch. Must have come out of the sun right at the right moment, but the Marlins get 2 back. It's 5-3. The last of the 7th. Adam Conley stays in the ball game. Miguel Rojas moves over to shortstop. Rojas comes through with the big base hit. And he came around to score a run, as well as Yadiel Rivera stays in the game and will be over at third. Well, I would say this about the Marlins, and I mean this in a nice way. They are an annoying club, aren't they? a real thorn in the Giants' side.
Yeah, I'll tell you, here in San Francisco, that is definitely the case. Certainly not at home in Miami. If you're referring to that last series they played against the Giants, that's who they are right now. Finding ways to win baseball games. They've been kind of grinding out this road trip. This team's been on the road for a while. They've been holding their own.
But still some work to do, and it's up to Conley to keep the Giants where they are at the 5 runs.
We've said it a multitude of times. One hopper to Rivera, nice strong throw across the diamond. We've said it a number of times throughout this hot stretch that they've been on. You've got to hold the deficit. You've got to keep it where it's at. You've got to make pitches. Pitch like you're pitching with the lead. Extra runners on base. This bullpen has been absolutely outstanding. One of the best in baseball over the last 2 weeks.
Outside to Joe Panik, who singled and scored in the 6th. A 5-run 6th inning. Final line on Urania: 5 2/3, 8 hits, 5 earned runs. 2 walks and 5 strikeouts.
Well, a 4-pitch walk to Panik. Excuse me, to Tomlinson. To Panik. Did it getaway day? It is. There we go. He's already out. I hadn't marked him down yet. I looked out of my scorebook. I guess that is Panik. There you go. No reason to panic.
I'm the one that just ordered the coffee, too.
Yeah, that's right. You did offer me some. I said no. Good.
Brandon Belt takes low and away. Belt had a huge RBI double. Could have been huger, and I know that's not a word, but it was a 1-hop over the wall that held Panik at third base. Would have helped the RBI column for Belt, but Giants ended up scoring the run anyway. Belt's had himself a nice day. 3 hits, couple of singles, and that RBI double in the 6th. To about the same spot, but a little more air underneath it as Brinson's able to make the catch in deep center field for the 2nd out. Now Pablo Sandoval, a single in the 1st, a double play ball in the 4th, and he was intentionally walked in the 6th. Strike 1. 95 on the inside corner from Conley.
Hitting only 172 against lefties. He did hit his first home run from the right side. It's Caleb Smith earlier this series.
Second stint with the Giants for Pablo Sandoval. Signed a 5-year, $95 million deal with the Boston Red Sox. Was DFA'd by them last July. And a few days later signed a minor league contract with the Giants. So the Giants paying the major league minimum on Sandoval. We're still getting some money from the Red Sox. Some. A lot. And now with the injury to Evan Longoria, he's getting a little bit more playing time at third base.
Well, he's held his own. He's been very productive left-handed. Obviously this side of the plate not nearly as much, but again he's going to get more opportunity every day. Absolutely right. I mean, this, watching his swing path, watching him hit velocity, he does look like the old Panda, if you will, from his days with the Giants the first time through. And one thing that kind of stood out to me in Boston, really almost seemed like that bat slowed down and maybe trying a little too hard to live up to the contract. Here he looks like he's free and easy, just kind of taking the game as it comes.
Runner goes. And Sandoval fouls it off himself. Still 0-2.
Well, it's been a bit of a theme today. What is it, third Giant?
Yeah. Hansen left the game with a left knee contusion. Tomlinson came in. A couple of at-bats later, Tomlinson took one off his foot, and now Sandoval.
Must be a left side of the infield thing for the Giants.
Yeah. Pretty soon they'll have Matt Williams out there again. Oh, 0-2 with 2 outs. To Rojas. Goes the short way. And a good inning of work there for Adam Conley to keep this at a 5-3 deficit.
For each post, T-Mobile will donate $1 to support veterans.
Beautiful shots of San Francisco Coit Tower. They're in beautiful San Francisco. Always fun. There's our producer John Seltzer on his sailboat before the game.
That's how he made his way over from the hotel.
That's right. That's right. Not live footage because he's back in the truck doing a fine job. Haven't heard from our director in a while, though, so he might be out on a boat somewhere. I'm not quite sure. Ty Block takes over. J.B. Shuck takes a called strike. Shuck hitting in the number 4 spot in the order. Was the pitcher spot after a double switch a couple of innings ago. And 0-2.
Well, Block, a familiar face for this Marlins team. My goodness. Remember last Thursday he pitched 6 2/3 innings in relief. The 16-inning marathon they played on getaway day. Now, I'm not trying to add that all up, but if the Marlins can score a couple runs right here,
then we'll get to Denver later.
That's okay.
Yeah.
Find a way to win a game. Find a way to win a series.
That's the thing. If you think about it, that's how this road trip all started, was with that 16-inning game.
Right.
Of course, Craig did a fine job with that series doing the play-by-play. So I was driving in as you guys are calling the game and taking my time. The game was flying at one point. I'm on the highway. I'm thinking, I better hurry up. This bus is going to leave. Slow chopper, second base, Shuck down the line, out by a step, one away. Hustling down the line, made it close. Speedy Shuck retired for out number 1. And the powerful Justin Bohr swings and misses 0-1. Bohr walked in the second. Grounded out in the fourth and into a double play in the sixth. The 0-2 from Block. This is low and away. Well, it's a good thing that ball didn't get, popped up foul behind home plate, because there was a ball from the bullpen that was trickling around the on deck circle on the left side. It's one of the problems that you run into with the bullpen mounds on the field. Now, as the story goes, they're on the field because they forgot to put them and hide them behind the wall, right?
I can attest to that. I do remember the story. It was already circulating very early. I obviously mentioned I was a Dodger when this ballpark was opened. In fact, was here that day. Kevin Elster hit 3 home runs that day, and it was, I mean, we kind of showed up. Everybody was in awe. Everybody checking it out, and liking the new ballpark.
Bohr pops this one up. Sandoval dealing with the sun. He's completely lost it, but it's out in center field.
I'm sorry.
That was the first guy I looked at was Sandoval.
I'm with you. I saw him too. He's about 50 yards away from the ball with both hands in the air like he was going to catch it. And nowhere. Watch the middle of your diamond, right just by the edge. That's Pablo Sandoval. Look at him.
We are 93 million miles from the sun. Sandoval made it seem like it was bearing down upon us.
That's right.
Hilarious.
Yep. To finish up, just that the bullpens were forgotten. Yeah, they were not, and they have not been placed. So it's interesting. I guess they'll remain where they are, at least for a while longer.
How good was the rotation that they didn't even think about their bullpen? Or do you think it was just an engineering flaw?
Well, I mean, we've been ranting and raving at how beautiful AT&T Park is. It really is. But where would you take away space and decide to put the bullpens? I mean, every inch here, you look around, has almost got something going on special in that area. Like even center field, we've just did a report on it. The beer garden.
There's the beer garden.
Right. You have to eliminate it. Let's say you make that the bullpen. How about underneath the right field wall out there? Well, look, that's a spectator's cove. You've got the landing, Levi's landing. Just below that, you've got all sorts of fans that are watching through the fence.
Sharply hit to short. Tomlinson comes up with it, and a great throw and a great play. He gets Brinson. We go to the bottom of the 8th, 5-3. And Jessica Blaylock, how about the defense on display at shortstop this series by the San Francisco Giants? The latest in a long line of it. Kelby Tomlinson with the Bonefish fresh catch of the day.
Well, certainly a spectacular one. This ball hit hard by Brinson once again. Able to pop up and make a strong throw across the diamond. Pick up that third out.
J.B. Shuck stays in the game in center field. So Brinson is lifted. The other half of the double switch, Teran Guerrero. He'll face Nick Hundley, Mac Williamson, and Hunter Pence here in the 8th. '35th game of the season, but again tasked with keeping it at a 2-run deficit. Lined and a base hit over the head of Castro. And Shuck gets to it. Hundley towards second. Throw from Shuck goes off of Hundley. And now all the way to third. As that one got far enough away from Rojas, who was backing up the plate, bounced off of Hundley and went back toward shortstop. And Hundley heads up, makes the extra 90 feet.
Yeah, we told you that Hundley has been a hot hitter here in the month of June. Second hit of the ball game, really pushes the throttle down on that way around first base. He did not let up. He was thinking two the entire time. Not a bad throw by Shuck, but a tough one to handle. I think it even caught part of Hundley on his slide into second. Watch this. He's thinking two all the way. He didn't just decide to turn those jets on. He was going to push it the minute he left the box. And the hustle into third base is what he is known for here in San Francisco, the offense.
So it's a double with an error, and it goes off of Hundley, who's actually had the presence of mind. It looked like he covered his face.
That's what your arms are for. You kind of throw them up there as you're sliding in. Keep those eyes open.
So Guerrero having to navigate this now with the insurance run at third base with nobody out. 0-2 to Williamson. Marlins play the infield in, desperately trying to keep a 6th run from crossing home plate.
A big part of what they've done so well is kind of hold the lead of the Giants, giving themselves an opportunity to battle back. You're absolutely right. It's kind of been the one theme over the last couple of games, is that yesterday the Giants were able to add on, which kind of put the rest of that ball game down. I think in this situation here, Marlins might have a little bit more of a push and keep this thing at 5-3.
Now 3 balls and 2 strikes. Marlins will have Rojas, Rivera, and Dietrich due up in the 9th inning. Right field line and foul. Williamson, a hard hit ground ball in the 6th inning. Sam Dyson loosens. Drove in a run on a fielder's choice in the 6th inning. Did Williamson. 3-2. Staying alive.
Watch every out-of-market regular season game live at home, in the office, or on the go with MLB.tv. Subscription includes MLB At Bat Premium, allowing you to watch live baseball on your favorite supported devices. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.tv for details.
Another payoff pitch to Williamson and another foul ball. That got JT right in the face. Once again, a 3-2 pitch. Popped up. Foul territory. Bohr gives it a look. Saw Bohr earlier in this series have trouble with a pop-up, but it's one of those places where you don't really learn the nooks and crannies, and then all of a sudden it becomes easy. This is a ballpark, I'm sure Giants, if you watch 81 home games, you'd see them have just as much trouble on a nightly basis as the visitors do. 3-2 again. And he held on to it for strike 3, did JT. One away here in the 8th. After things wrap up here in San Francisco, Marlins will get on a plane, head to Denver, enjoy the night off and the day off. And then it's 3 against the Rockies Friday, Saturday, and Sunday to wrap up this 3-city road trip, which to this point has been somewhat successful. The Rockies have been scuffling as of late. They've got the Mets in town tonight and tomorrow as Hunter Pence takes a big swing and a miss. Mets and Rockies play the third game of their 4-game series in about an hour and 20 minutes, and then they'll play tomorrow afternoon at Coors Field.
Well, good to see Guerrero really starting to build confidence back into the slider. It's a big pitch for Guerrero. He cannot just continue to go at hitters thinking velocity is going to win out every time. He's going to have to start trusting that slider just a bit more. So far today, he really has.
Pence, who had an RBI single in that 5-run 6th inning, is down on the count, a ball and 2 strikes. They have broken his bat, floated out behind Rojas, and that will dump in for a base hit. Just muscled that one out over the drawn-in infield, did Pence. And it's 6-3 San Francisco.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Sometimes you beat the hitters, and the hitters find the soft spots in the defense with the infield in an extra wide soft spot. You even heard the reaction from Pence as his bat broke, and he certainly didn't have a whole lot of exit velocity on that, but falls in for the RBI base hit, stretching that lead to 3.
And now Gorky's Hernandez. Drove in 2 on a single back in the 6th inning. A 14-pitch at bat, a career-long 14-pitch at bat for Gorky Hernandez, who's had a very good series against the Marlins. He takes upstairs, 99 miles an hour, able to hold up.
And he's become an everyday answer for the San Francisco Giants team. We certainly have seen that over the last week or so. He's hit at the top of the lineup and productive there. Has also hit farther down in the lineup in the 8th spot today. But you're right. He's had some big moments. Big game yesterday. Had a big game in Miami as well. I told you about the home runs. He is really taken to San Francisco, and they're playing him every day.
45 games with the Marlins back in 2012. As Dyson continues to heat up down the left field line for the Giants, who now have a 6-3 lead with 1 out in the 8th. Hit 3 home runs with the Marlins back in 2012, 11 RBIs. He has 8 homers this year, a total of 8 in his previous 4 big league seasons. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Pops it up toward the dugout. Bohr in Real Muto, and it's going to be Bohr to make the play. So Andrew McCutchen will hit in the number 9 spot for the Giants. McCutchen was 2 for 5 in last night's ball game, 2 for 8 in the series. He's got 24 hits this month, 3rd most in the National League at the start of play. .316, 5 homers and 14 RBIs in June. And this is his first year with the San Francisco Giants. Tap foul, 0-1.
This is second pinch hit at bat. 2018, 0 for 1.
In the last year of his deal, signed an extension with the Pirates in 2012, a 6-year, $51.5 million contract. Had a club option that the Pirates picked up before trading him to San Francisco. 1-2. For those who like bookkeeping, the Pirates are paying the Giants $2.5 million as part of the deal this year. It'll pay him $14.75 million. 2013 MVP, the year after Buster Posey won in 2012. And he is frozen on strike 3. Guerrero gets the strikeout, a couple in the inning, but the Giants get another run. We'll see Sam Dyson in the 9th. to hide by Sylvester Comprehensive Cancer Center, in pursuit of your cure, and by your South Florida Honda dealers. 6-3 the score as we go to the top of the ninth inning. Marlins have done a lot of erasing deficits against the Giants. Can they do it one more time in the last inning, perhaps in the last game of this 7-game season series? Sam Dyson in to try to close it out for San Fran, and he'll face Miguel Rojas, Yadiel Rivera, and Derek Dietrich in the ninth.
2.45 ERA, making his 6th appearance against the Marlins in this 7-game season series, so very familiar with each other. 3 2/3 innings against the Marlins. His last 4 innings have been hitless. We go all the way back to game 1 last week in Miami. JT Realmuto took him deep. Those are the only runs he's given up this month. Had a couple outs yesterday on 1 pitch. Came in to finish off the game. Got a ground ball double play. Ground ball specialist, 64.8% of the time. He's going to use that sinker to keep the ball on the ground. He's got a good changeup and slider as well.
1-1 to Rojas, who's got a couple of hits in this ball game, including an RBI single back in the 2nd. Came around to score in the 7th. And a ground ball base hit up the middle for Miguel Rojas, who comes through again. That is his 3rd hit of the afternoon, and it's a base runner to start the 9th inning.
Stay hot, Miguel Rojas. He has definitely had a long and lengthy slump that he has been working through, but I officially say he is out of it.
His 5th 3-hit game of the year.
Well, good to see. Nice approach. Hard contact off the barrel. Well done. Productive afternoon. Very productive road trip so far. Well, that's 1 base runner. You still need another. Get that tying run to the plate. A very nice job. Pinch hit his last time up. Sacrifice fly.
And speaking of productive road trips, this guy's had one, 4 for 10. 0-2. Coming up after this one, Craig Minervini and Jeff Nelson on the Marlins Live post-game show, presented to you by WB Mason. We'll hear from Don Mattingly and many others as the guys break down the final game of this 3-game series, and we get you set for the 3-game set against the Rockies starting Friday night. Be Wei-Yin Chen against John Gray on Friday. Saturday afternoon at 3:10, Trevor Richards, Tyler Anderson. And Sunday at 3:10, Caleb Smith and Herman Marquez, the starters at Coors Field. Close take for Rivera, but it's a ball and 2 strikes.
Good take. He's halfway home. Himself back down from the 0-2 count.
Two and 2. Swung on and missed. Strike 3.
And he went back to the 2-seamer. That sinker The outside edge. Going to pick up the strikeout. Let's take another look. Rivera's swing. His job to keep that front foot down. Buy himself an extra bit of time, but too much movement from Dyson.
And now Derek Dietrich, who singled off of Tony Watson back in the 7th. That lefty-lefty matchup. It was Dietrich's first at bat of the day, his only to this point. Got the corner, 1-1.
Dietrich does have a base hit against Dyson, 1 for 2 in his career.
Marlins scored a run in the 2nd. The Giants scored their first 5 runs in the bottom of the 6th inning. Marlins got 2 back in the 7th. And a very important insurance run in the last of the 8th for San Francisco. They lead it by 3. Marlins won the first game 5-4, scoring 3 runs in the 9th inning. Giants a 6-3 win last night when there were some ejections, some tempers flaring. Bench was never cleared or anything like that, but a little bit of back and forth between these two clubs. And as everyone imagined, nothing of the sort today.
We've got a battle right here for Dietrich. Put the ball in play. See if you can't find yourself a hole. And the secondary pitches for Dyson have been good weapons for him. He does prefer to use that sinker as much as possible. It's probably some of the mix up here with Hundley.
Now, I might be a couple of pitches too late on this, so forgive me, but are you surprised that Rojas hasn't been on the move with Dyson, the ground ball specialist, stay out of the double play? The fact that Hundley doesn't exactly throw out every base runner.
It's generally how I think. I think that we'll be a little bit more proactive. I certainly understand it. I mean, it is, you're still trying to get the tying run to the plate. Rojas doesn't mean much, but again, if you can apply some pressure, at least in my opinion, you'd love to see it because you got a lot of things working for you right now. You're absolutely right. Dyson's not really holding him on.
Just foul.
And you factor in that Hundley doesn't throw guys out and that you can open up another base. Here's a good look. Marlins don't run much.
17 stolen bases, fewest in baseball. Hundley, 20 of 22 base runners have reached second base. Dietrich takes low, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Starlin Castro on deck. Anderson and Real Muto after him. If the Marlins can continue to extend this game, three, 2, 1 out. Now, do you think Rojas is off?
Well, I'd like to believe he is. Belt's not even holding him on, so
it's actually going to move behind him.
Yeah, well, that's kind of my point. You're getting a 3-step lead. You better be off. Nope, not going. How about that?
Dietrich sends this one out to center field. A long run for Hernandez, looking up, and he lost it in the sun. That one's going to bounce up and over the wall. Kind of glanced back at the wall, and I don't know if it was the sun or the wind or taking his eye off it. Whatever it was, the Marlins will bring the tying run to the plate.
Well, you're absolutely right. Hernandez did everything right as far as getting himself to the spot, but he looked away, and that's a dangerous proposition. You've heard me say over the first couple months of the season, a good outfielder can look away at times, knowing where that ball is going to come down. Hernandez did look away, but even on television, you can tell how hard it is to pick up that ball in that white sky. He looked away, and when he looked back, he did not have the baseball and unable to pick it up again. Well, things get a little bit more interesting. There goes the Marlins' way here in the ninth. Castro, the tying run. RBI single his last time up.
And now Reyes Maranta up for the Giants. As the two guys that they have said will get the bulk of their save opportunities in the absence of Hunter Strickland. Dyson and Watson already in this game. Dyson in right now, getting set to deliver a 1-1. Chopped foul. Now Bearclaw and Steckenrider up for the Marlins. They're going to tie the game first. Castro out to center field. See if it's deep enough to score Rojas. Hernandez underneath it. His throw goes to third. It'll be a sac fly for Castro. Marlins within 2, but down to their final out.
They are down to their final out, but they're sending their most reliable RBI guy to the plate. It'll be very interesting to see how they go about this. Anderson, an RBI double versus Dyson in Miami. 2 for 4 today. 409 with runners in scoring position. Talk about getting familiar with somebody. I mentioned it as this inning began. 6th appearance by Dyson in the 7-game season series against the Marlins.
Right field line and foul, 0-2. Giants fans get up. A passionate fan base here in San Francisco. Anderson trying to quiet the crowd and keep this game alive. And he will do just that with a base hit to right field. Dietrich around third. He is going to score. It's an RBI for Brian Anderson, and the Marlins down 6-5.
Right, just when you think you have him, just when you think you've got him backed into the corner, 0-2 count, fighting for his life, he shoots one the other way. My goodness, we just need to record it, you and I, come in early and just replay it as we get to the end of these games. How many times have we seen Brian Anderson do just this? Let the ball get a little deeper, barrel up and drive it down that right field line, go the other way.
Another 3-hit game for him, his 5th of the year. And now it brings up JT Realmuto.
Yeah, this is an interesting matchup because I remember this. Do you remember this?
I do.
Oh, yeah.
Dead center.
Well, they've gotten him to the box. He's got a chance to do just that one more time.
Ripped through the left side, a base hit. And the tying run into scoring position on the base hit by JT Realmuto. and the 34,000 that were on their feet a moment ago now growing ever more restless.
I mean, are the Giants just sick and tired of the Miami Marlins this season?
25 limos are waiting outside to get these Marlins out of town. Bochy out, as is Dyson. Maranta in, and the Florida Lottery called to the bullpen. At least one more as Reyes Maranta comes in after the base hit by JT Realmuto. Marlins have scored 2 in the ninth. They trail it by 1. J.B. Shuck against Maranta in his 33rd game this season. Takes a called strike.
Well, if you remember going back to Miami, Maranta's got a good arm, throws hard. He's having trouble with his fastball command. In fact, was relying on the slider an awful lot more, and you saw it for a first pitch to Shuck.
They'll check at third. No swing, says Andy Fletcher, and it's a ball and a strike.
Back-to-back sliders. I'll tell you what, Shuck's probably thinking this is was not expecting this. And Maranta can get it up there 96, 97 miles an hour.
Tying run is Anderson at second base. Potential go-ahead run, Realmuto at first. Marlins down to their last strike.
Well, against Maranta, hitters are 7 for 22, 318. Runners in scoring position and 2 outs, 6 for 14, 429. He has been prone to mistakes in this spot.
Shuck went around, and the Giants hold off the Marlins.
Not today.
They made it interesting by scoring a pair in the ninth to close the gap to 1. But the Giants take the last 2 of this 3-game series, holding off Miami by a final score of 6-5. All important insurance run scoring in the bottom of the 8th inning. And that ultimately the difference in this one, as the Giants win it by a run. For Todd Hollinsworth and Paul and our entire crew, I'm Paul Severino saying thanks so much. The Marlins Live postgame show is coming up after the break.